Hi, everybody. This is Donna at DMF Nursing. This evening I want to talk to you a little bit about the state of the working conditions for registered nurses of color in California. Tonight, I wanted to bring on another guest. Her name is Margaret Mary, and Margaret is going to tell us a little bit about her experience working as a nurse in California and how she was recently put in a situation, and she'll tell you about that because of the discrimination, also known as the use of a policy called "Do Not Return." Um, so I I am going to just talk a little bit about discrimination in itself. According to the NIH, um, hospitals or the workplace in the United States is consisted of a diverse population of people. What is happening in nursing is that we have a whole different groups of minority. Then there are the white nurses or Caucasian nurses. What I find in California is that most of the discrimination is coming from the minority groups who are many times are the ones that are in charge of um, the nurses that travel to work in these hospitals. I am a travel nurse. I travel to many different states, but the only place that I see this discrimination that is very obvious is in California. Um, and that has made a negative impact on um, our jobs, ability to maintain our jobs or, um, promotion, retention, or hiring. And so Margaret Mary is going to come on and she's going to tell us about her experience. Okay, Miss Mary, go ahead and welcome.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, one and all. Yes, I have had some challenges being a registered nurse. I became a registered nurse in 2008. I was, during my last semester, there was a scout from Kaiser Hospital who was giving $5,000 to a nurse that could receive it. And the stipulations was that once the nurse finished up her degree, associate degree, and would give 2 years to Kaiser once they passed the boards and got their license. So I passed the boards, and I went to Kaiser Sunset because that's where the scout was from, and that's where I was supposed to start working. So anyway, when I went up there and I went to HR, Human Resources, and I asked to speak to the scout, they said, he's here, but he never did come out and talk to me. And so therefore, I was not hired, even though I did sign a promissory note that I would give them 2 years. And I never got a chance to give them the 2 years. And even up to now, off and on, periodically, I have tried to work at Kaiser, even during this last strike that they had recently, where 31 nurses mainly were Filipinos, very few. I think I saw one black during the news when they were showing it, and they said it was 31 registered nurses. They're from Alabama and Georgia. Now, I was told 2 months prior to the strike with Kaiser, because I work strikes, they called me up the registry and told me to make sure all of your certifications are up to date. Make sure that your license as a registered nurse is current, because there was rumors of this strike that did surface. Kaiser, 31 nurses, Georgia and Alabama. And so I was waiting and I was waiting, and finally the strike did happen. So the registry never did call, never did involve me. And I was told from an inside source, from someone that's been working there for 19 years. Mm-hmm. And she informed me that those nurses from Georgia and Alabama, it was a 5-day strike. They got $8,000 a day for those 5 days. Times 8 times 5 is $40,000. Wow. Those nurses left here with that money. We did not get called. We were not on board. Mm-hmm. So I asked them about it, and I told them what I knew. And they says, well, we are going to have another strike in a week or two, because it was on the news. They did verify what this registry told me. And they said, well, this coming Thursday, that was when the last strike was supposed to happen. They said, make sure you check your email on Thursday. Make sure you check your text. Be aware and definitely keep checking in, because this strike will come back. So I did that, and I found out afterwards through the news that the strike ended that Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I really believe they knew it was going to end. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, once again, I'm not working with Kaiser after all this time. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Go ahead. It's okay.
And so that was part of my career. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was hired as a new grad with Huntington Beach Hospital. I worked there from 2008 till 2009. Right. And the reason I left there was because the Filipinos started coming in. In 2008 is when I started having challenges with my career. And in 2008, the Filipinos started working on my floor. They became charge nurse. They became the house supervisor. And so I don't know why, but this one charge nurse, during the day, end of the shift, I was doing my wrapping up, my charting, which at that time was paper. And mm-hmm. The student nurses was there in front, nurses station, their instructor was there. Mm-hmm. And this charge nurse came and she slammed this paper down in a pen. And she says, you better sign this. And I said, sign what? I said, look, you better get out of my face. I said, this makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So she picked up the paper, she picked up the pen. Then that next day, because I work nights, that next day mm-hmm. at 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from the house supervisor saying, we want to have a meeting with you, and you need to be here by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So I didn't know what the meeting was about. I didn't know why they were calling me at that time, because I work nights. So anyway, illegal. I told them about it. And they said, it sounds like something illegal. Went in, walk in, and just resign.
Wow.
So I did. I walked in, I resigned. And yeah, so this is 20. Then around 2021, 2022, 2023, Huntington Beach sent me a postcard asking me to come and reapply. So when the last time, 2023, they had a $20,000 sign-up, I decided to and reapply. And so I talked to the house supervisor. They said the hiring event, it was a Wednesday, in the cafeteria. That's where they were doing the interview. Human resources was outside the cafeteria. They had a table. They were seated behind the table against the wall. Human resources was. So I talked with the house supervisor and let them know that I would be a returning nurse. And so I told her that I had worked there before. So she hired me right away. No questions asked. She said, "You are here." With $20,000 sign-on bonus, she says, "Go back outside, tell human resources, tell human resources have rehired you." So I'm waiting. So no call Thursday, no call Friday. So Tuesday of the next week, I called human resources. I said, "Well, I'm rehired. Yeah, I haven't heard from you guys." So the guy asked me what was my name. And I told him. And he said, "We decided we're not going to bring you back. We decided." So it's about me. It's like a sword that's So I called him resources last month. And the human resources lady that I spoke with, I told her the situation. She says, "Well, what was his name?" I says, "Well, I'm not sure." She says, "Well, he doesn't work here anymore." She says, "Let's do this." She says, "Let's start with that." She says, "Go to the human resources. If you find John interest," she says, "we go from there." So last week I did find they are hiring a need registered. There was a new job that just opened up. It said new, just opened up. And it's for a site that was not worked site before. So I said, okay. So I went to apply. So I went and asked for basic information. I'm on field, so everything's filled out. My name, my address, my title. And next thing I know, it said next. When I tried to go to next, it wouldn't go. So I went back and I went back to the top. And it says that this job is no longer available. And so I didn't get the job.
Wow.
And this has been an ongoing challenge with me and other Afro-American, Black, and brown nurses who are experiencing racial discrimination. And there's an article, and it says racial discrimination against Black and brown nurses. I've been working registry, I've been working per diem, which means, and then I've worked some contracts before.
Right.
And so I was recently contacted by a registry, and when they wanted to know what state I was in, and I told them, they said, "Oh no, you nurses have a bad reputation. We're not going to use you," and hung up just like that. So I've had many applications I'm applying for, have applied for through different registries because they will not hire. They will not hire.
Wow.
And there's no stipulation against my license since 2008. I have not had.
You have not had any
employment.
Right. Wow.
Even December. Last time I worked was December 2024.
Wow.
I worked at a hospital through a registry, and I only worked there 2 days. And next to that registry, and I asked why. She said they don't have to give a reason anymore. I have had Filipino nurses laugh in my face and say we are the Filipino mafia. They have said that, and it's an insult.
Yes.
And even when I worked at I worked 20, I think it was 2023, in the COVID era. As a matter of fact, it was the 21st. Yeah, December 2021. So I got COVID in 2020, and in 2021 they asked if they could mask from a registry that I was with since 2018. She recently went out of business.
Right.
So I said, yes, I would definitely be master booked. So I worked every day the week coming up to Christmas. I worked 5 days straight, 12 hours nights. That last assignment was actually Christmas. I ended up working 24 hours because I worked nights, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. When I was supposed to get off at 7:30 a.m. on Christmas, I had already worked Christmas Eve. They said to me, well, we don't have a nurse to replace you. Can you work? Can you do 24 hours? I said, yes, I can. So I worked 24 hours. Then that next day, I was told by the registry that the house supervisor, who is also a Filipino, said that I had to get the COVID vaccine or don't come back. So I went to my doctor, my primary, and he said he did not recommend nor did he advise me to get the vaccine because I had COVID. And he said, so therefore I already had the vaccine because I have acquired immunity.
Yes.
And that if I did get it, it was going to hit me hard. He did not recommend it. He even wrote a note to that effect.
Right.
Also, and she to this day will not let me work at Norwalk.
Wow.
Because I would not get the vaccine. And so
that's awful.
It's been a challenge all the way through. And right now, my name is out there with Filipinos in California because they have taken over the workforce.
With
so
nurses,
because of that, they don't hire me. When I get my name autofill, either they don't hire me, they say that this job is no longer available or it's no longer open. And then they discriminate because they see my name.
Wow.
And once they see that, then I'm not hired, And that's through various registries. Because even now, they're saying that I need to try to get a per diem job for 6 months. And then I could possibly work out of state. I could apply for a compact license, and then therefore I could work in another area in another state, which is very unreasonable because I am in California. I work in California.
You live in California.
And so, yeah, I live in California. I was raised here, came when I was 5, and so I've been here all that time. And I'm struggling. I don't have a stable place to live. I have friends that have offered to let me stay with them. But right now, I don't have a stable place to live because I have no income.
Wow. So that is
the
awful.
challenge I'm facing. And some other nurses as well. Even I worked at La Mirada. And a lot of the Kendrick, I worked at Brea. I think that was in 2022. I think I got hired at Brea. The house supervisor, she had a huddle every morning, and she said, anybody that won't clean a patient don't deserve to be a nurse. So I didn't say nothing. I listened. I didn't agree with that because basically that is the job of a CNA. Now, I have helped CNAs when I'm on a team, when I'm leading, and I have an LVN and a CNA. I have helped them. So this one CNA at Brea, when I was working there, he he wanted me to clean. I'll hold the patient and you clean them. I said, I
So,
don't think so.
right.
I said,
So,
I am the nurse.
may I
hold the
interrupt you?
patient.
May I interrupt you? When you said that you have no stable income or a stable place to live, are you saying that because you're unable to find a job, that is the cause of that instability?
Yes, it is. Because
Wow.
basically, if the truth be told, I'm homeless.
And you're an RN.
I mean,
You're an RN.
yes, I mean,
right.
with a bachelor's.
With a bachelor's. When was the last time you applied for a job? I think you mentioned.
I just applied. I just applied last week. Huntington Beach. They had an opening for a psych nurse to work on a psych unit. Yeah, mental health.
And what happened? And what happened when you applied?
Well, then there was a pink notice that said this job is no longer available. However, the reason I applied, it said this job just opened new.
So you think that the pink alert that came up that had something to do with you being blocked, probably, most likely, because it's a new job and you put your name. Did you put any other identifying information in? I think you went online to do this.
Yes, I did.
So you think that they knew that was you because you had some other identifying information, your name and what else?
Right. Yeah. Well, when they saw, okay, the basic, like it asked for my name, first and last name. It asked for my title and the job that I was applying for, which was psych nights. And they wanted my address, wanted my RN, yes. And like I said, after that, after you give your basic stuff, your phone number,
okay,
then it said next.
Yeah.
And when I tried to click the next, it would not go.
Wow.
It did not move. The arrow did not move. So therefore,
they blocked you. You're being blocked. Yeah,
what was wrong.
So you were being blocked.
The problem, and it's at the beginning.
Yeah, you were being blocked.
That's when it said this job is no longer available.
Right.
It has already been eliminated.
And it should, in fact, it's not eliminated. If it says new, you were just being blocked. So what do you do about that? Did you call? Did you follow up to find out why did that happen? Or did you apply to the EOC?
This was just last week. So,
okay.
I will check with them again. I was planning on actually calling them Monday and let Human Resources know what happened. Because see, when they say
you should